It's over, and it's been over for quite some time. Harry and Meghan's relationship is done, and at this point in time, they are simply appearing together in public to try to keep their brand intact. Hello, and a very warm welcome to Kate Middleton and the Queen. Look, folks, as far as I see it, there are no two ways about it. Harry and Meghan have had a really rough time since they moved to the US, and sure, it is their own fault. And it is a fact that tough times take their toll on any relationship, and a relationship that was founded upon lies like the one we see with Meghan Markle and Prince Harry is never going to be able to withstand such difficulties. I mean, even a relationship with a solid foundation, like the one we see between Prince William and Catherine, the Princess of Wales, for example, I mean, even they would have a difficult time if they experienced as many failures in such a short period of time as Harry and Meghan have. As you all know, I have been suspicious for quite some time now that Harry and Meghan are not together anymore, that their relationship is over, they're not living together, and they're simply keeping up appearances to try to make more money before they finally separate for good. And according to one user on Quora, Benjamin Smallbrook, my suspicions are correct. Harry and Meghan are done. Now, usually, folks, I don't use Quora as any sort of source for my videos, and I'm sure you understand why. It's all just rumors, it's all unsubstantiated information, but sometimes people on there know exactly what they're talking about. And this Benjamin Smallbrook is somebody who does have access to insider information simply because of where he lives. In his post on Quora that he made about Harry and Meghan no longer living together, Benjamin Smallbrook writes, "I like living in Bray. I've mentioned before that this 16th century Thameside village in Royal Berkshire is known as the gastronomic capital of the UK, and it's all thanks to celebrity chef Heston Blumenthal, who owns the Fat Duck in the High Street." So he goes on to describe this very expensive, very fancy restaurant. And then he tells us that he was eating at a different restaurant in Bray called the Waterside Inn. He says it is a little cheaper. And he says, quote, "Bray is within spitting distance of Windsor Castle and also close to where the Middletons live. Residents are fiercely loyal to the royal family, and quite rightly so." So he says that he was eating there on Friday, and he also writes that the other diners speak freely and loudly about their favorite subject, which is, of course, the royal family. So the reason I'm sharing what this source on Quora has to say is because he makes a pretty good case for himself, how he would have access to this insider information that most people don't know about yet, including journalists. And honestly, most of the journalists these days don't know what they're talking about anyway. They're just reprinting what somebody else wrote, so I'm gonna give this guy a chance. According to Benjamin, there was somebody on the next table saying, quote, "They are taking time apart to reevaluate their marriage." He writes, "Of course I listened carefully. They were discussing Meghan Markle and her pitiful husband. I will say at this point, these people in Bray don't guess. They know what's going on. Literally, hundreds of members of the royal household live in the surrounding area. They know each other, and they talk." He goes on to write, "I didn't hear anything that we don't already know, but everyone was in agreement. They don't live together. Harry is worn out. Business deals have failed and the public has turned against them. He is trying to figure out what hit him. He doesn't fit in with her tacky Tinseltown world." He writes the comments were relentless. "She no longer wears her wedding ring and they don't travel together. They live apart and come together to avoid media attention and to protect their brand." And this information fits with what we are seeing. Everybody has been talking about the fact that Meghan no longer wears her wedding rings. We've been wondering, where are they? I think at one point in time, she claimed she was getting one ring fixed or cleaned or something like that. But no, that's not what's going on. If that were the case, she would already have been spotted wearing it again, but nothing. And another thing is Harry and Meghan, when they've been out and about together in public, often Harry cannot hide his true feelings. You can see the misery all over his face. You can see that he cannot stand this woman who he agreed to marry. But see, the two of them are still in a very difficult situation financially, so of course they're going to pretend to stay together as long as they think that's going to be the best thing for them financially. Now, at some point in time, though, they're going to realize the jig is up, and they're going to have to come clean about everything, including the invisible children. I also found it interesting that there's no mention of the children in this post. I mean, it seems like Harry and Meghan are not even talking about them anymore. Sure, we recently got some report that Meghan was hoping the children would learn to ski in Canada, thanks to Invictus, I believe it was. But other than that, we're not hearing anything. So I do believe that over the next few months, we're going to hear less and less about the kids. And we're going to hear more and more about Harry and Meghan, but it's going to be separately. It's going to be Meghan pursuing her own career, and Harry probably trying to come back home. Maybe I will be proven wrong, but I don't see any way for them to keep up this facade for much longer. Thank God. All right, folks, and now for a little discussion time. Today, I'm going to be talking about your responses to the video, Absolute Trainwreck, Why We Can't Look Away from Sussex Drama. In this video, I was talking about how we are all addicted to this train wreck known as Meghan and Harry, and we were just speculating about why we are so hooked, why we can't look away. And I agree with most of you. It's because we're just waiting to see the ending play out. So the first comment that I want to share comes to us from Amy Nanos. Amy says, honestly, I really believe what keeps us hooked is that we've been along for the horrific Harry and Meghan ride this far. We deserve to see them fall. I saw many similar responses to this. I saw so many comments echoing the same sentiment, Amy, so thank you. And it really is a lot like when you're watching a really bad movie. Even though it's horrible, once you get to a certain point in it, you can't turn it off. You gotta see how the thing ends. Next comment is from user IQ3. They've been a useful educational tool. We have now learned so much about narcissism. We have seen Harry's true whiny, petulant, vindictive, immature personality. Their lies, scheming, fake publicity stunts, all becoming tiresome. But at the same time, their shenanigans can be entertaining. And then Sue responds, true, I never knew what a narcissist really is, but now I do. I agree with you. We have received so many important lessons from Meghan and Harry on what not to do. They really are an amazing cautionary tale. The next comment I want to share comes from Debbie Hibben. Debbie writes, great video. Thank you, Debbie. I think we are all waiting for Harry and Meghan to crash and burn completely. It's like we are building to a big climax. Who will leave first? What juicy stuff will come out in court? What stupid-ass thing will they do next? We are just waiting for karma to do them in, and I think we are all a little stunned at their audacity and stupidity. I myself have never met anyone like them, thank God, so it's a real education for me. I hope everyone keeps pushing to get the truth out there. Thanks for all that you do. And thank you for this comment, Debbie. I think all of us agree with you on this. We really are hooked on seeing what kind of stupid thing they're going to do next. They somehow manage to one-up themselves over and over again. Just when we think they are finally scraping the bottom of the barrel, they go and show us there was a whole other barrel hiding underneath. And finally, let's hear what Sue Clark has to say. Sue writes, Harry and Meghan are like the Days of Our Lives soap that just keeps on going and going. You have to keep tuning in for the next episode. And because they keep outdoing the previous cringe behaviors, they keep us coming back for more. If they would just go quiet, it wouldn't be that way. An unintended consequence of their drama is the worldwide community have produced a lot of people who have gotten to know each other online. So many invisible friendships have formed, and so many laughs along the way. I personally want to see them truly wake up and change course in life, not self-destruct. But for now, it's like a disaster movie you can't stop watching to see what happens next. Sue, I really love this comment, and I, like you, also would love to just see them realize the error of their ways, change their behavior, and finally grow up. But if I can't see that happen, then I guess I'll have to settle for watching them self-destruct. Honestly, I mean, the two of them and their shenanigans to try to get attention and to try to stick it to the royal family are becoming exhausting. So if you didn't know, Harry and Meghan's latest stunt is they showed up in Jamaica. They walked a red carpet for the premiere of a Bob Marley movie. And while they were there, of course, they had to make time to pose with the very anti-monarchy Republican Prime Minister of Jamaica, Andrew Holness. Now, even in the best of times, this is a move that Harry and Meghan would likely draw some criticism for. But at a time when the king is in the hospital undergoing a procedure for an enlarged prostate, this move is just plain tacky. I mean, they knew exactly what they were doing. Andrew Holness is very outspoken about his wish to break away from the Commonwealth. The Commonwealth was also something that was so important to the late Queen. I mean, it was essentially her passion project, bringing all these countries together. This topic was discussed by Sarah Vine and Andrew Pierce on their YouTube talk show The Reaction. So as reported in the Daily Mail, Pierce said of Harry and Meghan's photos with Mr. Holness at the premiere of the film, in the very week the king is going into hospital, he is there consorting, hobnobbing with one of the most overtly Republican prime ministers in the Caribbean, somebody who also wants to break up the Commonwealth, which was so precious to the Queen. They are tone deaf. Honestly, tone deaf, I think, is being too kind to Harry and Meghan. I think they know exactly what they're doing. They are so desperate to get attention for themselves that they will deliberately stab the king in the back at a time like this and then twist in the knife to make sure that it goes deeper just to see their names in the headlines. They truly are pathetic. Sarah Vine said, they are deliberately trolling the royal family. Both the Princess of Wales and King Charles are in hospital, and they have not said anything. Normally, they are keen for everyone to know how much they care about people, and they have not said anything. I think their game plan is going to be self-hating royals. They are going to be, we are part of the royal family, but we hate it. It's not a very good plan, though, is it? I mean, Harry and Meghan have tried to establish their brand based on negativity, and nobody's a big fan of it. Until they get it through their thick skulls that making a career off trashing the royal family is never going to work out, they're going to continue to fail over and over again. I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. In the world we live in today, people are looking for positive influences. People are looking to be inspired. People are looking for role models and how to live. They're not looking for a couple of overgrown toddlers whining about their overprivileged existence. Honestly, I don't know what's wrong with them, though. Why they thought that hanging their hats on hatred and divisiveness and spite was going to earn them fans. See, I think Harry and Meghan have bought way too much stock in the woke movement. Honestly, I don't think the woke movement is going to be around that much longer. I think it's already going out of style. It should be obvious, even to a couple of idiots like Harry and Meghan at this point, that the foundation of their brand cannot be just trashing the royal family. It's got to be more than that. But amazingly, this seems to be something Harry and Meghan still are not grasping. At this point, it should be obvious. We all saw the South Park episode. We saw the Family Guy episode. We saw the reaction and the criticisms of Spare. We saw the reaction and the criticisms of their docuseries. If they still don't get that their brand of negativity isn't selling, I don't think they ever will. And now I do believe as the money is running out, they're finding themselves at a very awkward crossroads indeed. I mean, what do they do at this point? Do they try to reconcile with the royal family, which is clearly the best thing for them to do, but might be impossible? Or do they continue down this road of negativity that isn't earning them any fans? Well, it looks like they truly have painted themselves into a corner. Couldn't have happened to a nicer couple. All right, folks, and now for a little discussion time. Today, I'm going to be talking about the comments that you all left in response to the video, Eliminate Dirty PR Again. Desperate Meghan and Harry are back in Jamaica. So in this video, we were talking about the reasons why Harry and Meghan showed up to walk that red carpet for the premiere of the Bob Marley movie in Jamaica. Could it be that they were trying to distract from the negative publicity that Harry's been getting since that Legends of Aviation award ceremony? Let's see what you all had to say. The first comment I want to share comes from Paula Weaver. Paula writes, how much did this private plane cost? Is there a Soho House in Jamaica? In my opinion, how can Harry and Meghan still have the money to spend on these trips out of the country? Thank you. Paula, this is something I'm wondering too. Now, first of all, you know they flew via private jet. It's not like they fly any other way. And are they staying at Soho House? I don't know. But it's a good question of how they still have the money to go on these trips. Now, I suspect that there's some kind of PR angle in all this. So it could be they got a lot of their expenses paid for. I don't know. It could be that for some reason, somebody wanted them to be there on that red carpet, and so they at least partially paid for Harry and Meghan's trip. I suspect we're going to get more information about this in the coming days and weeks. We have a response here, too, from Mrs. Tigger. Mrs. Tigger writes, I've just looked, and there isn't one in Jamaica yet. There is the one they went to before on Canoan, but nearly all the beaches in Jamaica are privately owned by the resorts, and I'm sure they were staying in one with security. I personally did not like Jamaica, as it is a very poor country, and there are a lot of people walking around with heavy-duty artillery, and this was 15 years ago. And then Paula says, not my idea of a fun place to go, Mrs. Tigger. Thank you. I'll stay home and take care of my livestock instead of traveling places where people carry weapons for overall safety. The folks who I know who have weapons are for nuisance wildlife which go after the livestock. Paula, that certainly sounds like a nicer place to live than Jamaica. I'm going to agree with you on that one. And it is interesting that there's not a Soho House yet in Jamaica. I do wonder if that's why they were there, though. Maybe Marcus arranged for Harry and Meghan to go there as location scouts. All right, and the next comment I'm really excited to share with you all. It comes from Linda Alway. Linda writes, someone on X posted that they had been in Jamaica for last week, and who did they see? Meghan Markle with another male, not Harry. According to the poster, Meghan has been there a week with this male who looks around 50 years old partying and having a good time. So what happened to the sick child? All right, Linda, I've got some great news because I have found more information about this. Now, I came across this little gem on Reddit. I can't tell which social media platform this is coming from. I'm sure that some of you can help me out in the comments. But anyway, I'm showing it right now. So we've got Anonymous. As someone who has been in Jamaica for over a week and as someone with high connections in the country and lucky to be visiting high-end places here, Meghan has been here since before Friday, and the story about a child or children being unwell is bogus, as she has been spotted partying, drinking excessively, and is enjoying herself, without her husband or her children, but she does have an older guy with her, and she couldn't get enough of him at a restaurant on Sunday where I saw her again. I'm very certain that she is divorcing him, and she has no intention whatsoever in keeping the children either. I am not sure who the guy was, but he looked in his 40s or 50s, if not older. She is using the movie premiere as a way to get away with this man undercover, it seems. Boy, is this some juicy gossip. Now, of course, I gotta admit we have no way of confirming or denying this report, but I wouldn't be surprised. It would make a lot of sense, wouldn't it? Meghan is not going to leave Harry until she has another victim in her clutches. At the same time, we have been seeing unmistakable signs that the relationship between Harry and Meghan is over. They don't even do a good job of pretending to like each other in public at this point. So, in my opinion, this rumor could very well be true. The truth always does have a funny way of coming out, so I believe this is not going to be the last that we hear of this story. For much of my adult life, I lived pretty far away from basically everybody in my family. And thanks to modern technology, this is a decision that's usually pretty easy for me to live with. I can call my family members, we can even FaceTime now. Of course, we go visit each other when we can. But when a family member falls ill, I will be the first to tell you. That's when the distance seems like such a big deal, seems insurmountable. During those times, I want nothing more than to be physically near my family members. And it sounds like now this is a feeling that Harry is experiencing. In spite of the many things that Harry has done to try to hurt his family, I really do believe that on some level, Harry does still feel love for his family, especially his father and probably his brother and his sister-in-law too. You see, in Harry's sick, twisted mind, he believes that he was hard done by. He believes that he was mistreated by his family members, and so that's why he caused such a stink. He believes he is owed a massive apology, but he has never said that he doesn't love them anymore. He's never said that he wants to cut them out of his life. He has never said that he doesn't want a relationship with his family. He has just consistently complained about being mistreated at the hands of his family and insisted that they should apologize to him and Meghan. And now, as reported by The Mirror, according to a source, Prince Harry is eager to reunite with the royal family after a string of health emergencies. Of course, both the King and the Princess of Wales are seeking hospital treatment right now. Catherine is in the hospital while she's recovering from abdominal surgery, and the King is supposed to undergo treatment for an enlarged prostate this week, so I assume that's already started. Now, Sarah Ferguson, bless her heart, has also recently been diagnosed with skin cancer, and that's after she was treated for breast cancer back in June. I'm not the biggest fan of Fergie, but still, I do hope that she pulls through. I hope that this diagnosis is not as scary as it sounds like it is. I'm sure she's seeing the best doctors, though, so if there's anything that can be done, I'm sure they're going to do it. But anyway, back to Harry. At a time like this, I'm sure it is difficult even for Harry to be away from his family. But again, he's got himself and Meghan Markle to thank for that. A source spoke with Closer magazine, saying, although a lot has gone on, times like this have reminded them that life is short and family is important. And the source is claiming that now Harry is, quote, thinking about things differently amid his strained relationship with the royal family, adding how he, quote, very much still loves his father and sister-in-law. And supposedly, now Harry is trying to patch things up with his family. The source reports Harry certainly wouldn't hesitate flying back to the UK to help, but he knows there will be no shortage of support for his father. So it sounds like, at least for now, Harry hasn't made any plans to fly back. Well, there is no time like the present. So if this is true, that Harry really does miss his family, that he wants to make things right, that he's worried about them, what is stopping him from buying a ticket and flying back home? I mean, there's nothing except for, you guessed it, Meghan Markle herself. And if she is preventing him from going back to see his father at a time like this, she's even more evil than we thought she was, but I wouldn't put it past her. At this point in time, I believe the reports that Harry and Meghan are done. And personally, I was disgusted by the way Harry and Meghan showed up in Jamaica to walk the red carpet at a time like this, at a time when both Catherine and the King are in the hospital. They thought it was appropriate to strut their stuff on a red carpet and make everybody uncomfortable with all their PDA in the process. I mean, the two of them are clueless. And until Harry can come back down to earth, get away from Meghan, and figure out how to act like a decent man, there is no hope of reconciliation with his family. With Harry acting like this, I'm finding it very difficult to feel any sympathy whatsoever for him. If he really cared about his family, he would do something. We wouldn't be hearing this empty talk from a source. He is absolutely despicable. He is right in thinking that life is too short. So Harry, what are you going to do with the rest of yours? All right, folks, and now for a little discussion time. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the comments that you all left in response to the video, It's Over. Division in Meghan and Harry's marriage is exposed. In this video, we were talking about this report that came from a man who lives in Bray. Now, this man has access to lots of inside information thanks to where he likes to go out to eat. He overheard reportedly a conversation between members of the royal household, and they were talking about the fact that Harry and Meghan are done, finished. And now they're just showing up in public together because it looks better for their brand, whatever that means. So my opinion is this information is most likely true. I've been saying for a long time now, Harry and Meghan are not living together. They're not together in any way, shape, or form. Let's see what you all had to say. The first comment comes from Deb. Deb writes, "Wonder if Harry has started to realize he had much more freedom within the British royal family than he has now." We've got some replies too. Sue says, "It should be clear by now that he was leaving freedom on that freedom flight. He's stuck in a hole now." It is funny, isn't it, how Harry and Meghan insisted that they had to go and find their freedom in America. But now he is absolutely trapped. I mean, Harry and Meghan complained so much about press intrusion in the UK, and so they moved to Hollywood, the hotbed of paparazzi. The two of them never cared about privacy. Come on. This was all about them being able to make money for themselves, even though they haven't done a very good job of that, obviously. And I'm sure at this point Harry is regretting every single decision he has made since he got together with Meghan, but I also believe it's too late. It's too late to change what's already happened. He's got to figure out a new way forward, and he's got to figure out how to get away from Meghan. And next up, a comment from Robert John. Robert writes, "At some point, the man-child will crawl back to his taxpayer-funded life back in the UK he slagged off as he left to find his freedom." Indeed, and I'm pretty sure that time is coming pretty soon. I mean, Harry is a failure in America. That much is obvious. He's got to be ready to throw in the towel at this point. I mean, what is he still hanging on for? We've got some replies too. Wendy says, "Harry's freedom flight to ruin, and he did it all by himself. Give him an award." I like this, Wendy. I mean, this really was Harry's freedom to destroy his own life. Christine says his massive ego couldn't accept that his bad behaviors were hushed up and people paid off by his family, cleaning up his vile behaviors behind him. He thinks he's above the law because he's royal. He really does, and that smug, entitled attitude really gets to me. I can't stand seeing that in him. I mean, sure, he was born a prince, but he doesn't have to act like that. William sure doesn't. And then user IQ says, "Can't see Harry ever taking up royal duties again. He'll have to be funded by his daddy's private income." Oh, I'm sure you're right about that one. There is no way he's ever going to be a working royal ever again, but luckily his family has more than enough private money to fund him for the rest of his life. He's going to be another Uncle Andrew. And then Jan Woodward says, "Yeah, a 40-year-old man coming back to daddy. It is pitiful, isn't it, Jan? But that's exactly what he's going to do. He doesn't have anybody else. He can't stand on his own 2 feet. I mean, look at him." And finally, a comment from Kate London. Kate writes, "I think that, of course, the Harkles have been separated since about mid-2023. No relationship could withstand all this drama and chaos. Here it is, barely 3 weeks into 2024, and there's been about 5 scandals so far. I don't even know, but it seems like not just weekly, but something new comes out every 3 days or so. No such thing as a slow news day in Harkle land. Harry just needs to pack it in and call it a day. If they are staying together for their brand for money reasons, well, no company in its right mind will ever cut them a check again. It's over, and Hollywood has branded you as losers and grifters. If it was only one PR gaffe, that's survivable, and you could make a comeback. But this is too far gone. Honestly, Kate, this is such a perfect comment, I don't even have anything to add, so thank you very much for your insight.
Well, for a while now, we have been saying that Harry and Meghan must be running out of money. I mean, all the signs are there. They're spending money like there's no tomorrow, yet they have no income coming in. I mean, I know for Harry, this is something new. He was raised in the royal family where he never had to worry about a thing. He never had to pay his own way. The money was just always there. Well, now he's experiencing what reality is like for the rest of us. You got to actually work to pay your bills. But see, Harry and Meghan unfortunately have no marketable skills. They have no talent. When they first moved to the US, they were incredibly lucky to land all those lucrative deals. But thanks to the fact that they don't want to do any work and they don't have any good ideas, those deals have now all fallen through, except, of course, for Netflix. But the Netflix deal isn't looking so good either. So now, according to a piece in The Time, Prince Harry is demanding a second hacking trial against the Mirror Group. Oh, yes, that same prince who said that he doesn't really like being a royal. He just wishes he were an ordinary citizen. Yes, that one. He's the one now demanding something from the court of law. Who does he think he is? According to David Brown, writing for The Times, the Duke of Sussex wants a second tabloid hacking trial, quote, as soon as possible, despite the publisher of the Daily Mirror seeking legal costs totaling £350,000 from other celebrity complainants. So let's review. In December, Harry won £140,000 in compensation after a judge decided that 15 out of the 33 sample articles that he was whining about were indeed the result of unlawful information gathering by Mirror Group newspapers. So this was the ruling that led Harry to declare himself a dragon slayer, and he considered it to be this big win, even though, in my opinion, 15 out of 33 ain't really that much of a win. So now Harry's lawyer, David Sherburne, is telling the High Court that there has to be another trial, quote, as soon as possible on the other 115 articles, unless, of course, the Mirror gives in to their demands and gives Harry the amount of money that he wants. So why, oh why, would Harry be doing this right now? Well, I think it's pretty clear. Harry and Meghan are on the verge of bankruptcy. There are no job offers coming in. Maybe the two of them at this point realize there aren't going to be any job offers coming in. So now they're thinking, how are we going to make some money? How are we going to pay all our bills? Sounds to me like they are using the oldest trick in the white trash American playbook: file a frivolous lawsuit. And listen to how much Harry and his lawyers are requesting in damages. All right, so they won, what was it, £140,000 or something like that. And now, according to David Brown, Harry's lawyers are seeking over £2 million from the publisher. But with the way Harry and Meghan blow money, I mean, how long is 2 million even going to last them? A couple of weeks? Don't let Meghan get her hands on it, or else she's going to buy herself a whole new ill-fitting designer wardrobe, probably costing at least $1 million. Bottom line is, if this is their new idea of how they can make some money for themselves, they need to come up with a better one. Filing frivolous lawsuits is not going to work in the long term, or really in the short term either, for that matter. According to Brown, the second trial that Harry wants is believed to regard articles about his relationships with the King and the Prince of Wales, his girlfriends before meeting the Duchess of Sussex, and his military career. Harry's lawyer, David Sherburne, said, although the Duke is certainly prepared to attempt to resolve the remainder of this claim through agreement, it is necessary to list the trial of the remainder of his claim as soon as it is practicable. Well, what it sounds to me like is that Harry is wanting to waste more of the court's time and money just because he's getting really hard up for cash. He's desperate. He's got no other options. You know, Harry, you and Meghan should just file bankruptcy. Go ahead, get it over with. At least your debts would be cleared, and then you can start fresh, get a divorce while you're at it, tell the truth about the invisible children, and then maybe you will finally be free. All right, enough about that entitled Prince Harry. Now on to some discussion. So today I'm going to be talking about the responses that you left to the video's shocking real reason for Harkle's surprise appearance in Jamaica. Dirty plot. Now, of course, in this video, we were talking about why exactly Harry and Meghan even bothered showing up in Jamaica. Some people are saying that they were invited by Brian Robbins, the CEO of Paramount, but other people are saying that it's actually because Lauren Sanchez wanted to make sure that neither of those idiots showed up to Jeff Bezos' birthday party, especially Meghan, because apparently Meghan has tried to put the moves on Jeff. So let's see what you all had to say. First comment we've got is from user 154_Madison. How many times did our beloved late queen invite them to Balmoral to go see her Sandringham, Windsor, even 2 days before she died? Not once did they feel compelled to go and see her, not once. Yet they ridicule her, maliciously imply the royal family are racist while she was dying and Philip so close to death. Meghan Markle could then curtsy to her coffin once she had passed, and no doubt be there with a begging bowl for inheritance. But no, they couldn't even go see our late queen, Harry's grandmother, who had protected him for so many years from his own abhorrent behavior. What a load of crap once more from these middle-aged, arrogant eco-warriors, the correctly labeled Spotify grifters. It's a scathing comment, Madison, but you're spot on. I mean, you're telling the truth here. What Harry and Meghan did to the late queen is unforgivable. You're right, they're a couple of grifters, and they deserve everything they've got coming to them. We've got some replies too. Kim agrees. Carol says you are hit the bullseye. Miss Sachs says, well said. Robbie, Meghan Markle may find out one day what a horror she is by having tables turned. I would help. I would love to see that, Robbie. And then Cassandra says they're traitors who committed treason. They are traitors, and they should be charged as such, if you ask me. The next comment I want to share comes from Fran de Villa. Fran writes, Bob Marley was about being loving and humble. Harry and Meghan don't fit that bill. Seeing Meghan in that ridiculous skirt sitting in a theater seat just cracked me up. It did me too. What happened to the sick child? Good question. What about using private jets for travel? Well, they love it. What about the Prime Minister of Jamaica wanting the British out of Jamaica? Well, he does. And what about the claims that are being made by the charity Harry headed? They are disturbing indeed. His cry of do something about it falls on deaf ears when we find out that Harry was told about these horrible tragedies last May in 2023. You are reacting now, Harry? WTF? Why didn't Harry react almost a year ago? I think I've got the answer to your question, and it's a pretty simple one. Harry doesn't care. And final comment I need to share comes from Kate London. Kate writes, I've heard that Meghan Markle will constantly text A-listers at parties, and she won't stop asking them if she can come hang out, if she can go to the party they're at, etc. They humor her because she is the Duchess, but then make fun of her texts as they come in, like some dorky middle schooler sending messages to the popular kids to try to be friends. So I can definitely see Lauren Sanchez shipping her off to Timbuktu so everybody can get some peace. I bet that's why she wore the ball gown. She thought she was going to walk the red carpet and sit in the VIP section. I do love the way that you put it, Kate. It is what's going on. I mean, Meghan really is like some kind of pathetic middle school girl who is so desperate to be cool, but is so tragically uncool. Sue replies, I forgot about the texting A-listers at parties, so desperate and cringe. Maybe by now they all know her number and have her blocked. Sue, I've heard that a lot of them do have her blocked. I mean, wouldn't you? God, she's so desperate to be in the inner circle, but she never will. And then Kate says, hi, Sue Clark. I always enjoy your comments on Kate Middleton and the Queen. I enjoy both of your comments. And Sue responds, oh, thank you. The feeling is mutual. I just wanted to read your replies to each other because one thing I really love when I go through the comments section of this channel is how much respect I see that you all have for each other. Now, we don't have any use for those traitors Harry and Meghan, but I love to see that some places on the internet still believe in common decency, and Kate Middleton and the Queen is certainly one of those places.
All right, friends, so as I was scrolling through the news today, I came across a headline that made me stop. So on the Daily Beast, we've got a story, Kate Middleton's condition may hasten Harry and Meghan reconciliation, friends say. Now, of course, the first question that popped into my head was friends. Are they talking about Harry and Meghan's friends? They don't have any friends. So naturally, I had to click the link to find out more. And I'm glad that I clicked this link because first off the bat, we've got Tom Sykes writing, "Friends of the royal say everyone is sick of the feud and hope that Kate will urge stubborn, angry husband Prince William to reciprocate Prince Harry's friendly overtures." So then I thought to myself, oh, that clever Tom Sykes. Clearly, this is a satire piece, because otherwise, why would anybody be referring to Prince Harry's friendly overtures? I don't believe I've seen anything that I would classify as a friendly overture coming from Prince Harry towards his brother William. I mean, unless we're considering a knife in the back now to be a friendly overture. So according to Tom, friends of Prince William and Kate Middleton are hopeful that her current mystery condition may lead to a building of bridges between the Waleses and Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, after reports surfaced that the Sussexes had privately sent Kate their best wishes for a speedy recovery from her abdominal surgery. Well, now, first of all, I'm not going to get into what mystery condition Catherine is suffering from. I don't think it's right that tabloids are having an absolute field day with this. She has requested that her medical information, her private medical information, by the way, remain private, and I'm going to honor her wishes. I'm not going to speculate, but we do know that it was something serious because she's expected to stay in the hospital for about 2 weeks, 10 to 14 days, they said. And that's not typical after something minor. So whatever it is, all we can really do is pray for a speedy recovery for the princess and give her the space and the privacy that she needs right now to heal. So anyway, we did hear reports that Harry and Meghan have privately reached out to Catherine. Whoop-de-doo. I mean, it really is the least they could do if they even have done that much. Honestly, I'm not convinced. So Tom Sykes goes on to write, friends of the Waleses believe that Kate is likely to be more receptive to the idea of re-establishing contact with Harry and Meghan than William, and she may be able to act as a peacemaker in bringing the feuding brothers together. Now again, I'm questioning, is Tom Sykes serious with this report, or is he pulling our leg? So a couple of years ago, I do believe that Catherine was more receptive to Harry and Meghan than William was. But there's a lot that has happened since then. Harry and Meghan have really vilified Catherine, and then what Omid Scobie did to her in Endgame was inexcusable, and we know that came from Harry and Meghan themselves. There's no getting around that. So at this point in time, I believe Catherine is just as done with those traitors as William is. So apparently, Tom Sykes spoke with some old friend of Catherine, William, and Harry. This friend went to school with William and Harry but hasn't talked to Harry on a regular basis since he went to America in 2020. And this friend reported, health problems do tend to put everything else in perspective. If Harry and Meghan have made an effort to reach out to Kate to offer their best wishes, Kate will reciprocate. William would quite happily never speak to either of them again, but Kate's a peacemaker at heart. She would definitely be open to using the situation to build bridges. Never waste a good crisis, right? Never waste a good crisis is something I highly doubt Catherine is saying to herself as she's sitting up in the hospital trying to recover from surgery. Okay, maybe I'm missing something here, but please somebody explain to me, why on earth would Catherine choose now, of all times, to try to reestablish a relationship with a couple of people who hate her guts, right now as she's lying in the hospital trying to get better? I mean, maybe I'm unusual here, but whenever I've been sick or whenever I'm trying to recover from something, the last thing I want to do is try to call up my enemies and see how they're doing and see if they want to make peace. But anyway, let's see what else this friend had to say. So the friend said, you have to remember that Kate and Harry were exceptionally close. He adored her, and she provided a sense of stability after the chaos of his youth. I actually can't imagine a world in which he wouldn't have sent her a note despite everything. Well, okay, now I do believe that on some level, in spite of everything Meghan has tried to do, I believe that Harry still has love in his heart for Catherine. So I will give credit where credit is due. If there was a way for Harry to send a message to Catherine without Meghan punishing him too terribly, I'm sure he did it. But anyway, the friend went on to say, everyone in the family has frankly had enough of the whole feud narrative. It's way past time the whole thing was put to bed. Trust has been damaged, and I don't think they are ever going to be calling each other for a heart-to-heart like the old days, but it's time to move on. Well, if you ask me, referring to the whole thing as a feud narrative is a little disingenuous at best. It's not like this is a made-up story that's been promoted by the media, that Harry and Meghan are these innocent angels who never did anything wrong, and the cruel press made all these lies up about Harry and Meghan claiming that they're stuck in a feud with the royal family, even though they're not. Well, they are, though. But again, this is a feud that has been started by Harry and Meghan themselves. The royal family has tried their best to gray rock the traitors, but Harry and Meghan are the ones who keep it going. Now, as for William forgiving Harry and Meghan, maybe, I'm not even sure if she's included in this discussion, but for sure Harry. Well, okay, to be forgiven by somebody, if you ask me, first an apology is needed. Harry needs to show remorse. That's something that he has not done. He hasn't shown any indication that he would like to do. The last we heard, Harry was still all hung up on getting an apology from his family for the way they treated Meghan. We're still not sure exactly what he means by that, but obviously it's something that's very important to him because he won't shut up about it. According to Sykes, though, just hearing these reports in the media that Harry would like to reconcile with his brother is proof positive that he's ready, and so the ball is now somehow in William's court. I'm not sure I agree with this, but anyway, let's see what Sykes writes. So Tom Sykes concludes the article by writing, by making noises suggesting he would be open to reconciling with his brother, at least performatively, the ball is back in William's court. The question will be whether William can subsume his personal anger and put his arm around his brother again, even if it is just for the cameras at first. William's convalescing wife may be critical in helping him make that decision. Okay, so let me get this straight. We are supposed to hope for reconciliation, but only performative reconciliation, where the two of them probably still hate each other, but they're going to make nice for the cameras. Who is that going to help? I mean, that's not going to help this situation in the least. Either Harry and William find some kind of common ground. Either Harry apologizes and William accepts his apology and they develop their relationship as brothers again. Or no, they don't have any relationship whatsoever. I don't think it's going to help the public. It's not going to help the family. It's not going to help anybody for them to do this weird, showy, fake brotherly relationship thing. I don't even know why that was suggested. And again, the ball is not in William's court. Once Harry can act like a grown man, apologize for everything he and Meghan have done, and also, very important step here, leave Meghan Markle behind, only then might reconciliation be possible. So I don't know about you, but I'm not going to be holding my breath on that one. You know, friends, as soon as the news broke that Harry and Meghan showed up at the premiere for the new Bob Marley movie One Love in Jamaica, I just knew this was going to be an absolute gold mine for content. And I say that not because this was necessarily an important moment in the careers of Harry and Meghan, but instead just because of how absolutely tone-deaf it was for them to be there at all. And making the whole situation all the more ludicrous is the fact that both of them seemed so excited to have their photos taken with the Jamaican Prime Minister, who is a staunch anti-royalist. I mean, we were already giving some major side-eye for this decision of theirs to show up at all. And now we are getting the clips of what it was actually like that evening, and we are giving even more side-eye. So first of all, on Twitter, we've got this amazing post with 3 different clips. So I'm bringing up this post on X for you right now, and we're just going to talk about the clips one at a time. Okay, so the first clip I want you to pay attention to is this clip of Harry and Meghan being shown to their seats in what appears to be about the 8th row back. And obviously, this was not the VIP seating area they expected to be seated in. So the Jamaican Prime Minister and I believe also the CEO of Paramount and his wife were seated way up in the front row. Apparently, there is some kind of box seating up there. But did Harry and Meghan get to sit there? Oh, absolutely not. They are seated way back with the commoners in row 8. It reminds us a lot of what happened at the Jubilee and at his father's coronation. See, Prince Harry has got to accept that he's not front row material anymore. But you can see that this is a fact that still escapes him, because as they're being shown to their seats, when they realize that it is in the 8th row instead of the front where they assumed they were going to be, Harry just stops. It's like he can't even believe what is happening in front of his eyes. I mean, he's just frozen in shock. What? Me, a prince, sitting in the 8th row at a movie premiere in Kingston, Jamaica? How far have I fallen? Well, yeah, Harry, that's what happens when you marry somebody like Meghan Markle. You got to expect this stuff to happen. Now, I believe that Meghan is also shocked, but she does a slightly better job playing it off. She lets her narc mask slip for just a second, and then she quickly puts that rictus grin back on her face and pretends to be happy with their arrangements. It's funny to me, too, how Meghan and Harry were trying to style this out like they were William and Catherine showing up at the premiere of the Bond movie at the Royal Albert Hall. So Meghan's got that ridiculous ball gown on. And I mean, look at the floor. It's a dirty floor. I mean, if this was Meghan Markle's attempt to overshadow Catherine's appearance at the Bond premiere back in 2021 at Royal Albert Hall, boy, did she ever fail big time. It is funny watching Harry and Meghan walk in and watching how people simply do not care. I mean, this is a couple who at one point in time, not too many years ago, when they would enter a room, people would stand up for them. At this point in time, nobody can be bothered to look up from their popcorn or their phones. And the attire of the other guests also tells us a lot about what kind of event this really was. Meghan and Harry look like absolute idiots showing up there in Meghan's ball gown, and Harry is wearing some kind of suit. The other guests, though, are wearing shorts and t-shirts. There's one guy wearing some khakis and a baseball cap. I also enjoyed this other little clip that is on this Twitter post of the two ladies. So when we watch this one, I can't even understand what they're saying. There's somebody online who claims that they're saying that Harry and Meghan are not important. I do hope that's what they're saying. Honestly, I can't make it out. But you can see Harry and Meghan behind them. They're sitting down, and then as soon as Harry sits down, Meghan orders him to go get her something. I don't know what it could be. I mean, it could be water, because another funny thing about that first video is that in the row behind Harry and Meghan, there are water bottles in the seats. So apparently, they were not considered even VIP enough to get free water. Harry's going to have to head to the concession stand and buy some for Meghan. Maybe he was told to get some popcorn too, but I'm not sure. With that Ozempic Meghan's been taking, she's probably not very hungry. It's funny to me, too, how we keep on getting these reports that, oh, that appearance at the premiere is proof that Harry and Meghan are still very much together, still very much in love. What are these people talking about? I mean, to me, the body language could not be more obvious. They hate each other. Honestly, the way that Harry looks at Meghan is a look of pure spite, hatred, resentment. I do believe that he's blaming her for the fact that they have fallen so far and so dramatically and in such a short period of time. I mean, this is a man who used to be able to show up to premieres at the Royal Albert Hall. And at this point in time, now he and Meghan are seated in the 8th row at this random theater in Kingston, Jamaica. Even two people as delusional as they are would find it very difficult to convince themselves that everything is okay and that they haven't lost everything they once had. We've also got this amazing still shot that I want you to take a look at right now. It's from this same amazing Twitter post. I mean, if you ask me, the body language here is unmistakable. This is not an image of a couple who are deeply in love with each other and deeply in love with whatever it is they're doing. I mean, Harry looks absolutely livid, and Meghan, she looks like she's telling him something, probably trying to make this whole situation seem a lot better than it really is. But she doesn't look very happy either. I mean, I guess she was upset because she'd been living it up with whoever that mystery man was who she was in Jamaica with before Harry got there. And now she's got to show up and walk the red carpet with a man who she hates and who hates her probably even more. Watching the two of them try to pretend to be in love with each other is a funny thing, I cannot lie. But at the same time, why are they even bothering at this point? I mean, I understand we've heard reports that it's because they feel like they need to save their brand. What brand? Their brand is toast. Their reputations are in the toilet. There is no sense in pretending at this point in time. Another real gem that we got from Harry. I mean, it is funny to me how no matter how hard they try to train him for these types of appearances, Harry cannot be trusted to stay on script. So he admitted to the media while on the red carpet, "I had to be here." Now, he doesn't tell us why exactly he had to be there, but it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. Now, when the news first broke that Harry and Meghan were there, we were wondering who did invite them. Why were they there? Their presence is confusing to say the least. Now, reportedly, it was the CEO of Paramount Pictures who invited the two of them, which of course is raising questions about whether or not Harry and Meghan are going to try to strike some sort of deal with Paramount, now that it looks like Netflix is done with them too. So Harry and Meghan did get their photo taken with the Prime Minister of Jamaica, and they also had their photo taken with this woman, Marlene Malahou Forte, Jamaica's Minister for Legal and Constitutional Affairs. And last year, she suggested that Jamaica could become independent of the monarch and have a president of its very own in 2024. She said that the future of Jamaica should be, quote, in Jamaican hands. A problematic figure for Harry to be posing with, absolutely, but apparently he doesn't care anymore. Another funny thing about this whole story, and then I'm going to have to let you go, but Bob Marley's son, Ziggy Marley, he was there too. But guess who apparently did not want to have a photo taken with the Harkles? Oh yeah, that's right, the real star Ziggy Marley. It is hilarious to me how real celebrities, people who are not even A-list, people like Ziggy Marley, still want nothing to do with the Carparkles. I mean, at this point, they are so incredibly toxic, I'm surprised anybody will pose with them. Well, of course, people are still talking about Harry and Meghan's appearance at the premiere for the new Bob Marley movie in Kingston, Jamaica. It was quite an event. I don't know if you've seen all the clips. If you haven't, I encourage you to watch everything there is out there because, folks, it is absolutely hilarious. We've got Meghan walking around looking ridiculous in a ball gown while people around them are wearing like t-shirts and shorts and baseball caps. We get some great moments of the crowd yelling F you and booing Harry and Meghan as they're walking in. We get Meghan looking as inelegant as a person could possibly look. I mean, the clips are amazing, I'm telling you. Go check them out for yourselves. But anyway, of course, people are also speculating, what does this night mean for the future of Harry and Meghan? It was a surprise that they showed up, and can we expect more of these events in their future? And now we've got this excellent article in The Sun, Cash and Harry. Harry and Meghan will become royals for hire after disastrous Netflix and Spotify deals and being saddled with huge expenses. Harry and Meghan have seen their income streams dry up, including their charitable donations. Ugh, poor things. What are they going to do? I mean, at this point in time, nobody is even donating any of their hard-earned money to Archewell. So even when they skim 95% of that money and keep it for themselves, 95% of zero is still zero. So it looks like Harry and Meghan are getting really hard up for cash. What are they going to do? Well, according to The Sun, the question of what happens when the Sussexes run out of money is at the forefront of many minds, and their appearance at the premiere of Bob Marley movie One Love will have done little to calm nerves. We were not sure how exactly Harry and Meghan ended up at Jamaica for this premiere. Some people said that Meghan had been there a week prior hanging out with some older man who may or may not have been Marcus Anderson. Now Harry, that old living legend of aviation, of course, he couldn't come a day sooner because he was being inducted into the Living Legends of Aviation Hall of Fame. He was really busy. He was doing some important stuff. Now, Meghan, we thought, was home with a sick child, but perhaps she really was in Jamaica soaking up some sun. That would explain her skin tone. It looked a little darker than usual. But anyway, according to The Sun, Meghan and Harry flew to Jamaica for the event as guests of Paramount Pictures, which is distributing the film, sharing a private jet with executives and staying at the same hotel. Well, we knew they flew private jet, and we know that right now Harry and Meghan probably cannot afford to rent their own jet. So I think it was really a kind gesture for that Paramount CEO to invite them aboard his. It is interesting, though, if they were guests of the CEO of Paramount, why didn't they get to sit with him? I'm still waiting to know where exactly the CEO of Paramount and his wife were seated, but something tells me it was not in the 8th row with Harry and Meghan. Perhaps they were in a different room, maybe they were sitting in the front row, I don't know. But maybe that's why Harry and Meghan were clearly so confused when they were being shown to their seats. They thought to themselves, this can't be right, we're supposed to be sitting with our friends. Don't you know who we are? Unfortunately for the Duke and Duchess, though, apparently they did know who Meghan and Harry were, and those were their actual seats. Such an unfortunate mix-up. But anyway, apparently, according to The Sun, Meghan and Harry did bring some publicity to the event, so Paramount should be happy with them. Well, it is certainly true that Harry and Meghan's presence has brought a lot of attention to that event. I'm not sure that it's the kind of attention anybody would want, but you know what they say, there's no such thing as bad publicity. Or maybe they don't say that anymore, I don't know, I really don't care. So, reportedly though, there is fear behind palace walls that Meghan and Harry could become, quote, royals for hire as they struggle to fund their expensive lifestyle amid floundering media deals. Royals for hire. Can you imagine a worse fate for a couple of young upstarts like Harry and Meghan? Surely Paramount is going to give them something. Well, according to The Sun, insiders claim that although Paramount still hasn't agreed to any formal collaboration with Meghan and Harry, quote, a deal could be in the pipeline. The insider did not mention anything about what the deal could be for, though, which again might be a problem for Harry and Meghan. They've already shown us they can't produce anything, they can't write anything, Meghan cannot act. Now, Meghan did showcase her intern skills in that new Clever commercial, so perhaps that's what Harry and Meghan could do for them. They could be interns. Harry doesn't seem to have any experience, but Meghan, the young 42-year-old, she's got it down. She could type up reports, or better yet, write up reports in her beautiful calligraphy. She could go get coffee. I mean, there's really nothing she can't do except, of course, direct or produce or act. But Harry and Meghan do need to find some way to earn some money, and fast, because, according to The Sun, they are saddled with a $9.5 million mortgage for their Montecito mansion, and it's estimated they spend somewhere around £3 million per year on their security. Interestingly enough, I didn't really notice any security people when they were in Jamaica. Now, perhaps the security folks were wearing such good disguises that I simply couldn't see them. Maybe they just blended into the background. Their camo was so effective. Or maybe it's that since they were in Jamaica, they didn't need that security. Remember, Harry has said that it is in the UK he feels most unsafe. So perhaps, as long as they're not in England, they don't need such expensive security. As long as you completely ignore all crime statistics, it's easy to accept that Jamaica is a much safer place for Prince Harry than the UK is. According to an insider, though, security is still at the top of the list of priorities for Harry and Meghan. This insider revealed, we said, why not just move to a smaller house and live quietly? But the answer was clear. They need security. Well, yes, don't be ridiculous. Us poor plebes who don't get to live in $14 million McMansions, we just have to face dangers on a daily basis that Harry and Meghan do not deserve to face. They are the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, for crying out loud. They should never be subjected to the horrors of, coming face to face with commoners like us. Or another example, what if Harry and Meghan had to go to New York again to pick up an award that they bought and paid for, and they had to travel a block without a 7-car convoy of blacked out SUVs? Can you imagine how dangerous that would be for them, how scary it would be? Chances are they might end up in another near-catastrophic car chase. But even though things are looking pretty grim right now for Harry and Meghan, their Spotify deal was canceled, they were called grifters, their Netflix contract is probably going to expire and not be renewed, at least it looks like they've got a clear path ahead of them. They can make a career for themselves out of showing up to events like the infamous Living Legends of Aviation Award ceremony and movie premieres in developing countries. According to The Sun, as Harry posed for pictures with D-listers such as fake royal Prince Mario Max-Schaumburg-Lippe, it seemed to signal the direction the Sussexes are headed. So will a generous king be saddled with funding the life of someone who shows no interest in a royal life? Or will the fallen prince find an even less appealing paymaster than Netflix? Well, we may not be able to answer those questions just yet, but if we stay tuned to this royal soap opera, I'm sure answers are coming. And you, what do you think about this notion that Harry and Meghan may end up being royals for hire? Would you hire them? Let me know your opinion below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to like and share it with anybody else who would appreciate it too. And as always, if you haven't clicked that subscribe button yet, please do so that you don't miss a single update from Kate Middleton and the Queen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a lovely day, and I'll be back to see you in the next videos.